Welcome to this Functional Skills Level 2 Maths training video. This video contains information and guidance on Criterion 10. Add, subtract, multiply and divide decimals up to 3 decimal places. At Level 2, and by the end of this session, you should be able to understand place value of decimals up to 3 decimal places. Add decimals. Subtract decimals, multiply decimals, and divide decimals. When working with decimal numbers, it's essential to understand the place value of each digit. Here's a breakdown to help with this concept. The digits to the left of the decimal point represent the whole number. Each position to the left increases by a power of 10. For example, ones or units, tens and hundreds. The digits to the right of the decimal point represent parts of a whole, or the decimal part of the number. Each position to the right decreases by a power of 10. For example, tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. Let's look at this example. 981.024. 981 is to the left of the decimal point. It is the whole part of the number. 0.024 is the decimal part of the number. It is to the right of the decimal place. Here is a place value chart. Being familiar with place value will help you to understand decimals. If you need to, pause the video while you make a note of different place values. Here are some examples to help you understand place value. 9.55. 9 is in the ones place. It has 9 ones. 5 is in the tenths place. It has 5 tenths. 5 is in the hundredths place. It has 5 hundredths. 162.048. 1 is in the hundreds place. It has 100. 6 is in the tens place. It has 6 tens. 2 is in the ones place. It has 2 ones. 0 is in the tenths place. It has 0 tenths. 4 is in the hundredths place. It has 4 hundredths. 8 is in the thousandths place. It has 8 thousandths. Let's move on to adding decimals. To add decimals, you need to make sure the decimal points in all the numbers are aligned one below the other. Then you can perform the addition as you would with whole numbers. Let's look at this example. 12.345 plus 7.678. In this first example, the decimal points are not aligned, so the numbers cannot be accurately added together. However, in the second example, the decimal points are aligned properly, so the numbers can be added. As usual, we should start adding in the far right column. 5 plus 8 equals 13. Place the 3 in the answer box below and exchange the 1 into the next column to the left. Some tutors may use the word carry rather than exchange. This means the same thing. You can either write this one above the calculation or below it. Let's move into the next column, 4 plus 7. We know that 4 plus 7 equals 11. However, we also have the extra 1 that we need to add, which makes 12. Place the 2 in the answer box, then exchange the 1 into the next column to the left again. 3 plus 6. 3 plus 6 equals 9. Plus the 1 we have just exchanged makes 10. Place the 0 in the answer box and exchange the 1 into the next number column to the left. Add in the decimal point to the answer box. 7 plus 2 is 9. Plus the 1 we have exchanged makes 10. Again, place the 0 in the answer box and exchange the 1 into the next column. Finally, 1 plus the exchanged 1 makes 2. There are no more numbers to add. We have completed the addition. The final answer is 20.023. Sometimes, one of the numbers will have fewer decimal places than another. For example, 1.681 plus 8.12. Here, we can see that 1.681 has 3 decimal places, but 8.12 has 2 decimal places. When this happens, you must make sure you still line up the decimal points one below the other. You can add a 0 into the missing decimal place value to help you if you need to. Now you can add the numbers as you would usually. Start at the far right. 1 plus 0 equals 1. 8 plus 2 equals 10. Place the 0 in the answer box and exchange the 1 into the next column to the left. 6 plus 1 equals 7, plus the 1 we have exchanged makes 8. Add in the decimal point to the answer box. 1 plus 8 equals 9. The answer is 9.801. Now, it's time for you to try some. Pause the video while you calculate the answers, then press play when you're ready to continue. Here are the answers. Pause the video while you check them. If you need to, go back and check your calculations, then press play when you're ready to move on to subtracting decimals. Subtracting decimals is just like adding decimals. You need to make sure the decimal points are aligned one below the other. Then you can perform the subtraction as you would with whole numbers. Let's look at this example. 67.345 minus 7.313. In this first example, the decimal points are not aligned, so the numbers cannot be accurately subtracted. However, in the second example, the numbers are aligned properly, so the numbers can be subtracted. As usual, we should start subtracting in the far right column. 5 minus 3 equals 2. Place the 2 in the answer box below the numbers. Let's move into the next column. 4 minus 1. We know that 4 minus 1 equals 3. 3 minus 3 equals 0. Add in the decimal point to the answer box. 7 minus 7 is 0. Finally, there is nothing to subtract from the 6, so we simply write a 6 in the answer box. The final answer is 60.032. Sometimes, however, we will need to exchange or borrow when we are subtracting. Let's look at an example. First, we need to make sure we align the decimal points. Now we can begin subtracting from the far right column.
1 minus 4.
When we use the column method, we cannot do 1 minus 4. We also cannot swap the numbers to do 4 minus 1 instead. Therefore, we need to exchange or borrow. To exchange, we need to take 1 from the 6 in the left-hand column. We need to cross out the 6 and replace it with a 5. 11 minus 4 equals 7. Let's move on to the hundredths column. The 6 is now a 5. 5 minus 5 equals 0. We don't need to exchange here. 2 minus 7 we cannot do using the column method, so we need to exchange using the 9 in the ones column. Exchange 1 from the 9. Cross the 9 out and replace it with an 8 to show that we have borrowed 1. 12 minus 7 equals 5. Place a decimal point below the other decimal points. The 9 in the ones column is now an 8. Therefore, we do 8 minus 1 equals 7. Finally, 8 minus 1 equals 7. The final answer is 77.507. Remember, you cannot swap the numbers to subtract them. If the bottom number is larger than the top one, we need to exchange or borrow. Now, it's time for you to try some. Pause the video while you calculate the answers, then press play when you're ready to continue. Pause the video while you check your answers. The working out has been included here to help you. If you need to, go back and check your working out, then press play when you're ready to move on to multiplying decimals. Multiplying decimals involves a few more steps compared to adding and subtracting decimals, but it follows a straightforward process. Let's look at an example. Multiply 3.456 by 2.3. Step 1. Ignore the decimals initially. Remove the decimal point from each number. Treat the numbers as whole numbers and multiply them. The question becomes 3,456 multiplied by 23. Step 2. Multiply the numbers. Multiply 3,456 by 23 as if they are whole numbers. Start by multiplying the top number by 3. Remember, we must start at the far right. 6 multiplied by 3 equals 18. Place the 8 in the answer box and exchange, or carry, the 1. Next, calculate 5 multiplied by 3, which is 15, plus the 1 we exchanged makes 16. Place the 6 in the answer box and exchange the 1 into the next column to the left. 4 multiplied by 3 equals 12, plus the 1 makes 13. Place the 3 in the answer box and exchange the 1. Calculate 3 multiplied by 3, which is 9. We need to add the exchanged 1. This gives us a total of 10. Now we can move on to multiply by the 2. However, we need to remember that the 2 is in the tens column. Therefore, we start our answer by placing a 0, or placeholder, into the ones column below our previous answer. 2 multiplied by 6 is 12. Place the 2 in the answer box and exchange the 1 so it is above the 5. 5 multiplied by 2 is 10, plus the 1 makes 11. Place the 1 in the answer box and exchange the other one so it is above the 4. 4 multiplied by 2 is 8, plus the 1 makes 9. Write this in the answer box. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. Write this in the answer box. Now, we need to add up the two values. Starting at the far right column. 8 plus 0 equals 8. 6 plus 2 equals 8. 3 plus 1 equals 4. 0 plus 9 equals 9. 1 plus 6 equals 7. The answer is 79,488. However, we are not quite finished yet. Let's move on to step 3. Count the number of decimal places in both original numbers. 3.456 has 3 decimal places. 2.3 has 1 decimal place. 3 plus 1 equals 4. There are 4 decimal places in total. Finally, we need to place the decimal point in the product. It must be put 4 places from the right. 79,488 becomes 7.9488. Now, it's time for you to try some. Pause the video while you complete these calculations, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the answers. Answers for questions A and B are on this slide. Pause the video while you check them, then press play to check the answers for C and D. Here are the answers for C and D. Pause the video while you check them, then press play when you're ready to move on to dividing decimals. dividing decimals follows a straightforward process like dividing whole numbers. However, there are a few extra steps to account for the decimal points. Here's a step-by-step guide. Step 1. Set up the division. Write down the division problem in the long division format. You may also know this as the bus stop method. For example, 4.2 divided by 1.4. Step 2. Remove the decimal from the divisor. Move the decimal point in the divisor to the right until it's a whole number. The divisor is the number you are dividing by. It is the number outside of the bus stop. You must move the decimal point in the dividend the same number of places to the right. The dividend is the number that is being divided. It is the number inside the bus stop. For example, if dividing 4.2 by 1.4, move the decimal point in 1.41 place to the right to get 14. Move the decimal point in 4.21 place to the right to get 42. Now your division problem is 42 divided by 14. Step 3. Divide as usual. Now divide the numbers as if they were whole numbers. For division, we work from left to right. 4 divided by 14 doesn't work, so we place a 0 above the 4. Exchange, or carry, the 4 into the next column, which makes 42. 42 divided by 14 equals 3. Place the 3 above the 2. One top tip when dividing is to write out your multiplication tables to help you. Step 4. Place the decimal point. Since we moved the decimal points in both the divisor and dividend by the same amount, your answer doesn't need any further adjustment. So, the answer to 4.2 divided by 1.4 is 3. Let's take a look at another example. Step 1. Set up the division. Write down the division problem in the long division format. For example, 9.693 divided by 0.3. Step 2. Remove the decimal from the divisor. Move the decimal point in the divisor to the right until it's a whole number. Remember, the divisor is the number outside of the bus stop. You must move the decimal point in the dividend the same number of places to the right. For example, if dividing 9.693 by 0.3, move the decimal point in 0.31 place to the right to get 3. Move the decimal point in 9.6931 place to the right to get 96.93. Now your division problem is 96.93 divided by 3. Step 3. Divide as usual. Now divide the numbers as if they were whole numbers. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Place the 3 above the 9. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Place the 2 above the 6. Place a decimal point above the decimal point. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Place the 3 above the 9. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Place the 1 above the 3. 96.93 divided by 3 equals 32.31. Step 4. Place the decimal point. Since we moved the decimal points in both numbers by the same amount, your answer doesn't need any further adjustment. The answer is 32.31. Now it's time for you to try some. Pause the video while you work out the answers, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the answers. Pause the video while you do this, then press play to try some exam practice questions. Let's try a problem-solving question. Pause the video while you work out the answer, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the answer. To work out the total cost, we need to multiply £1.95 by 2.75. This gives us £5.3625. Since this is money, your answer should be rounded to 2 decimal places. £5.36. Here's another question for you to try. Pause the video while you work out the answer, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the answer. There are two ways to calculate the answer to this question. The first option is to start with the amount in your bank account and then subtract both amounts, one after the other. Alternatively, add the amounts you have spent together, and then subtract them from the total amount in the bank. The example on screen shows this. You should now be able to understand place value of decimals up to 3 decimal places, add decimals, subtract decimals, multiply decimals, and divide decimals. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.